Good day and welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob and I want to welcome you. Thank you for joining me. In our most recent post, we introduced an idea. We got it from the contemporary spiritual author, the Buddhist nun, Pema Chödrön. She's one of my favorites. And she says that we might actually find benefit in becoming more aware of what she calls the places that scare us. And what we're talking about here are the parts of our lives, the parts of our psyches, which leave us feeling vulnerable, worried, or even just plain old fearful. So there was an exercise that we had attached to this to have you name a few of your own shadowy areas that leave you fearful or worried. How'd you fare with that exercise? I hope that you did it and I hope it went well for you, fruitful. It's in the right direction at least, because we want to become conscious of the things that are really weighing us down. So let's come back to that exercise today and we're going to work with it a little bit further, okay? For today, I want to create what's called a fear map. So we're going to start by picking the worst of those. I had you identify 3 fears. I want you to pick the worst of those that you listed in the previous exercise, and write that one that is the most bothersome, the most troubling to you. Write it inside of an oval in the center of a blank page. Around that circle, around that item, what I want you to do is write down a half a dozen or so thoughts or associations that spring to your mind when you reflect on this particular fear. So just allow just whatever comes up to flow freely down to the you're writing on the page. Once you've done that, now let's do a bubble map. That's where we pick the one of those thoughts. Let's say a half a dozen thoughts. Pick the one of those thoughts that you've identified here that's related to your central fear. Pick that thought, the one that calls for the most attention right now. And with that thought, I want you to answer just a few questions for yourself. Here they are. First of all, how does this thought make me feel? More specifically, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed does this thought make me? That's the first question. The second question, can I find any depressor or fixer storylines that feel connected in any way to this specific thought? If you've been with me before, in any number of our posts, we've discussed the idea that we've got a depressor that sends us down it's a storyline, and it sends us down the rabbit hole of feeling bad about ourselves or shame. And then we've got a fixer that tries to come in and rescue. And sometimes that can be helpful, but oftentimes it's not helpful because it actually creates this kind of oscillation between feeling bad, trying to fix it, feeling bad again, trying to fix it, and never getting out of that cycle of the depressor and fixer. And then thirdly, after you've addressed the storylines, depressor and fixer storylines, see if you can find any inner requirements that seem also to be linked to this thought. Again, if you've been with me before, inner requirements is something we've covered in a great deal of detail. But in summary, it's any expectation that we have that our situation should be different, and beginning to feel into how that can actually create worse suffering for us. And so just to identify any inner expectations or requirements. Okay, that's it. That's the exercise. I want to say this is that what we're beginning to do now is we're beginning to analyze the red alert brain, which we've talked about a lot. We're analyzing the red alert brain in action, in this instance with our greatest fears. And I think of it this way: we're taking a 3-dimensional snapshot of all that underlies or informs these fears. The goal here is to be able to get underneath and through these fears more effectively. And we'll be working on that the next time that we join here. But this is a good start, is beginning to get the lay of the land and to realize that these fears, these worries, the places that scare us have a depth to them that can really serve us as we begin to move towards ways of alleviating, minimizing, reducing, managing our fears. Resilience is our central aim here, you guys, and stick with me because we're going to continue to address this in these next few posts. In between now and when I see you again, I want to thank you again for joining me, and also ask that you stay safe and be well, and I'll see you again soon. Take good care.